It's about to get interesting, so subscribe and hit like so you don't miss the top content.
This is all a very complicated and sad situation. About 4 years ago, my wife and partner of 8 years passed away due to complications after the birth, very rare, of our second son. I was deployed at the time, and completely devastated. After flying home, I felt that nothing would make me happy again. My sons are great, now 6 and 4, but overwhelming. So I asked a sister of one of my Marine buddies, Cass, to help out. She had been friends with my wife, but not great friends, and she agreed in exchange for a place to stay. At the time, Cass was only 20 years old and in quite a bit of debt in fault of her extremely abusive ex-boyfriend, who she had finally left about 3 months earlier. During the first few weeks of her helping out with the boys, she asked to borrow money to see a doctor due to shaking hands, no insurance. I happily obliged. She was an angel, doing all of the cooking and cleaning and keeping my young family together. It turned out that she had developed some sort of neurological disorder, probably brought on by repeated abuse. At the time it seemed simple. I had good insurance. She needed healthcare. I never thought I'd be able to move on from my wife, and she was afraid of intimacy. I agreed that I would marry her, but keep our platonic relationship. She promised not to burden me with her debt, and we had a prenuptial agreement and all. I know that this is fraud of the government, hence the throwaway, but we were both so damaged and needed somebody, if not intimately. The past 3 years have been about as good as expected, if not better. Cass is great, better than great. She keeps the house spotless, had food ready every night when I get home, and has been working overnights as a baker and almost has her debt paid off. Her condition has improved greatly. Also, due to the great medical care she was able to receive. With the boys, she is a saint. She tells them about their mother, shows them pictures, takes the places for fun, and even taught them how to read. Of course, the 6-year-old just finished kindergarten, but my 4-year-old is going to be the smartest kid in his class next year. Sometimes the 4-year-old calls her mommy, but she shushes him and reminds him that name is Cass and that mommy is the angel whose picture is above the fireplace. Once her debt is fully paid off, the kids are in school, and she saves up a bit of money. She is going to go into a nursing program. Our relationship, still platonic, but very caring. I've cried on her shoulders more times than I can count, and she's done the same. One night I was very stressed out, and yelled at her about something pretty inconsequential. She had taken my sons to see Santa without me. She, of course, became quite frightened, but we worked it out and I even offered to pay for her to see a counselor. She didn't. That was 2 years ago, and we have had little fights ever since, but have been able to work through them. She seems to understand me whenever I'm hurt, upset, or angry, and is calming in a way that I can't explain. The problem, Reddit, is that I think I might be falling for her. I've been noticing little things, her scent, her smile, her laugh, the way she smiles with her eyes when she sees me, how much my boys love her, not to mention that she's gorgeous, hard-working, and one of the strongest people I've ever encountered. A few nights ago I almost kissed her after we had put the boys to bed, and her hugs goodbye have started lasting a little bit longer. The other day she was taking a nap in my bed, she was washing her sheets, and I wanted to join her, not have sex with her, just lay with her and hold and kiss her. I don't know what to do, or how to even bring this up. It's been 4 years since my wife died. I can only think of a quote from A Song of Fire and Ice books, in which a character says that when the sun has set, no candle can replace it, meaning that since his true love has died, nobody could replace him. That's how I used to feel. But there have been days where my thoughts have been occupied with Cass, and I haven't even thought about my wife. I feel bad about it, and I still miss her, but I never thought that I'd be able to move on. I feel guilty and disloyal. At the same time, I want her. Not just sexually or physically. I want to be romantically intimate with her, not just as friends. I don't know how to bring it up. I don't want to scare her or make her uncomfortable, but this is becoming more difficult than I could have ever imagined. I was thinking about asking her to get dinner, just the two of us, and bringing it up. But what if she refuses? How can I gauge her interest? If it means anything, the other day she was having a hard time with the boys. They were restless and being out of hand. So I brought her home some of her favorite flowers. She was extremely giddy and gave me another lasting hug and a quick kiss on the lips. I was taken aback, but she pranced around, finishing dinner and putting the flowers in a vase. What does this mean? TLDR, after my wife died, I married a good friend's sister for healthcare benefits, and now I feel as if I'm falling for her hard. What should I do? Screw it. An hour passed, and I finally made up my mind. I called her favorite fancy restaurant and made a reservation. Her brother agreed to babysit and let her and me stay the night at his place if she didn't like it feel uncomfortable. She paid off her debt this morning, apparently just sent me a picture of the check, and next week will be our 3-year anniversary. So that's foreplay. I'm going to tell her about it over dessert. I'm nervous as shit. Last night was hectic as shit at first. Our younger son had eaten what he calls a giant fuzzy spider, and Cass wanted to take him to the hospital, even though he was fine. Her brother, we'll call him Joe, told her that he'd take care of it, and basically forced her out of the house to celebrate getting out of debt. She really didn't seem like she wanted to go at all. I became fucking nervous. So we got to the restaurant pretty early, but luckily they had a table. She ordered wine, which was odd, because she hasn't drank much since she broke up with her ex, but I figured it was a time to celebrate. We made small talk for a while, but it seemed forced, and I knew that I had to tell her soon. So, before the entries even came, I said that I had something to talk to her about. She didn't smile and told me that she knew. Joe told her, and my goddamn heart almost stopped. That fucker. I hurriedly told her that I was so sorry. I didn't want her to find out that way. I wanted to tell her myself. She shook her head, frowned, and said that it was okay. She just wanted me to be happy and that I deserved it. I told her that I didn't want to stress her out or make her uncomfortable, but I just needed to tell her and see how she felt, and that it was completely up to her. She gave me a look and said that it actually was up to me, and just to do what made me happy. She said that she was probably going to move out after her program ended, and promised to stay out of the way until then. It was then that I realized something was a bit off, and asked WTF Joe had told her. She said that he told her I wanted to take her out to dinner to tell her that I had started developing feelings for a girl, and wanted to ask Cass if it would be okay if I asked this girl out. It was then I realized that Joe had set me up for the most climactic pickup line ever to exist. Our entries came. I had shrimp and pesto gnocchi, and she had crab legs for you detail lovers, and I explained that, yes, I had started developing feelings for a girl. I just didn't want it to mess up what we had. She said that it wouldn't mess anything up. She still loved the boys and would take care of them and the house. I continued to then explain that I wasn't going to ask the girl on a date, though, and she asked, incredulously, why not? Then I dropped my smoothest line I've ever dropped, because I'm already on a date with her. Right? Thanks, Joe, because he must know about your planned movie and really wanted that line. She gave me this look that she gives my sons when they tell her things like I'm going to the mall by myself or I have a girlfriend named Tammy. Then she looked away, smiled and shook her head and asked, really? I nodded and told her that I cared about her more than anybody else alive, other than my sons, that I loved our family, and that I had fallen in love with her. She then took a drink of wine, rolled her eyes, and said about fucking time, Alex, and I'll never forget what happened next. Maybe it was a faux pas, but I leaned across the table and kissed her, spilling her wine, but neither of us cared and we kissed for about a minute, before she told me to get off her before her crab legs got cold. This was joking, but not. You'd have to know her. After leaving the restaurant we got ice cream and sat around and kissed some more, before heading home. Joe was sitting on our couch watching one of those VH1 dating shows with a shit-eating grin on his face, and Cass ran in, screaming at him that he ruined everything and that she was going to have to move in with Mom now. We let him believe it for about 5 seconds before bursting into laughter. He shook my hand and told me that the boys were sleeping and left. I picked Cass up and kissed her and carried her to my room where we, made out for like 2 hours and snuggled the shit out of each other. She isn't ready for anything else, but emphasized yet. I'll give her all the time in the world. At one point the youngest son came in because of a nightmare, and brought his dog, a golden retriever puppy, and claimed that the doggy was scared, so we, of course, let him in. I woke up early to make everyone breakfast, and of course, deliver, and I'm about to go and kiss my wife goodbye, and ask my boss for the second part of the day off so that I can spend more time with her while the boys are at school, preschool. TLDR, her brother is a little fucker. All went well in the end. We cuddled the shit out of each other all night. My wife and I are doing fine. But I'm still unsure how to provide proof. I've lost the receipt for the restaurant and didn't pay with a card, and won't post pictures for obvious reasons, such as years of defrauding the government. But I will deliver and find a way, I promise, as a man of my word. Haven't I always delivered so far? And to those of you who are talking about a second wedding ceremony, we just kissed for the first time 2 nights ago. Overly attached Reddit? Finally, thank you to whoever gave me gold. I spent about $25 last night buying Joe beers. But next time, please use that money for real good. Take a vet to lunch. Learn CPR. I don't know, but again, many thanks to you. It's been a few months. It's fine. I would encourage anyone to look through my past writings. I don't think I can post them here if you're wondering what happened about 2 months ago. But apparently that's a different issue. Things were going very well except I started developing feelings for her. I was afraid of scaring her or making her feel unsafe, but Reddit convinced me to take the plunge. Now I'm happily dating my wife. Hey everybody, I hope your workday is going well. My day has been crazy. Everything has been going wonderfully lately, though it was somewhat strange at first explaining it to our friends and family, but most of them had already caught on, including my sons, who act as if nothing has changed. I'm pretty sure the little fuckers knew the entire time. Anyways, last night I came home and Cass was out of it. Dinner was burnt, which is no big deal. I can't really cook well or anything, but it's out of character, and she was drinking, lightly, only 1 or 2 glasses of wine. I asked her what was wrong. Obviously I was concerned, and she told me that her ex-boyfriend, shithead, 30, male, got parole last week. I was flabbergasted, since she should have been able to testify at his parole hearing, I believe. Apparently the crime that he was incarcerated for was unrelated to the abuse, which I had always assumed was the reason. But Cass had been, 1, assured it would put him away for a decade at least, and 2, had been far too afraid to testify against him or press charges. Apparently he'd been arrested for this felony, and when he was being held, he asked her to post bail, but instead she asked my first wife for help moving out and moving on. I don't know what to do. I don't think that we have any legal ways to put him back into prison. She knows that she should have gone to the police and is guilt-ridden and upset about it now. I know that she's going to be safe, because if he tries to even contact her, I'll take a legal recourse of action to make sure that he doesn't so much as touch her. I've taken off work today, but promised that even when I go back, I'll have my buddies stopping by throughout the day. But I don't know how to make her feel safe. I've contacted my lawyer about filing a restraining order, and he said it shouldn't be too hard, but she's a mess. I just don't know how to make her believe that she's. I doubt this piece of shit will come around, but I know what I'm going to do if he tries. TLDR, her ex got out of prison. We weren't notified. She's scared out of her mind. Here we go again. It's been a few months and honestly, I've been really busy with life lately and last night I had trouble sleeping. I was just surfing the internet and decided to finish this story and here I am again. The answer is pretty well now. Things got tough for a while when her ex was released from prison last year, though. She was so afraid that he'd contact her, until he did. I remember that night like it was 5 minutes ago. Somebody rang our doorbell and the oldest son answered. He asked for Cass. She told the boys to go upstairs and gave me a look and I knew, but she didn't look scared. The bastard apologized and begged for forgiveness and asked for a second chance. She was so brave. I wanted to kill him, but she told him no and asked him to leave. He did, and he tried to contact her a few more times before we got an order of protection against him. Last I heard he moved upstate to live with his dad, or something. Around this time her brother Joe also got into a really bad car accident and ended up having to move in with us for a while. He's a great guy and one of my best friends, so we didn't mind, but it was a stressful time. About 7 or 8 months ago we finally, consummated our marriage, I guess you can say. The boys are doing great and are really happy. Cass got a pretty good job, although I think she's working too much overtime, and loves it. We're expecting our first child in February and couldn't be more excited. You could say that life is pretty good. It's been a full 2 years. It was a pretty rough pregnancy, and Cass has stuttered about wanting more. I think 3 is enough. But everything went great. Baby Teresa was 21 inches and 9 pounds at birth. And as bald as I am, she is much lighter than the boys. She hardly cries at all, and is the most photogenic baby ever. Our youngest son is absolutely adorable and is always trying to help. It's not as cute as you might think. Joe is also doing okay. His back is still bothering him, but he's dating a girl who actually went to my high school, 2 years younger than me, though. He's pretty happy with her, and we're all very happy for him. Other than new fatherhood, not much to update. I'm home watching the baby today while Cass it out, so I should be around for a while. TLDR, it's a girl.